Welcome to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks, where women share their dreams, struggles and successes, how they were able to persevere despite the fear and create the life they want and deserve. If you're looking for inspiration to move you past where you normally would stop, then this is the show for you. Here's your host, Melissa Banks.
Welcome to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. I'm excited you could be with us today. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, and today we're excited. We have an amazing power couple to share their journey with us, how they were able to keep going. Today we have James and Natasha King, authors and entrepreneurs. Welcome to the show, guys.
Thank you so much for having us.
I'm excited for this conversation. How are y'all doing today?
We're amazing, absolutely excited. It's an amazing Monday, so we're excited to get going.
I'm excited, too, and I'm so excited for our audience to get to know you guys a little more. I mean, you guys are out there, so this is really not an introduction to a lot of people. But let's just begin at the beginning. Both of you have over 14 years in your respective fields. Natasha, you in education, and James, you in graphic design. What has it been like for each of you to transition from into entrepreneurship?
Oh, wow. You want that in one word or what? The transition has been amazing, humbling. I won't sugarcoat it. Some parts will scare you, but you just push through. You really do. The transition has been amazing. I compare it to I know most people have driven in a storm or rain or something like that, and sometimes there's low visibility. And I remember one time we were traveling, coming back from Georgia, and it was raining so heavily. Now, mind you, I don't typically drive that often, except when we take road trips, but it was raining so badly, the cars were literally pulling over to the side of the road because you couldn't see. And I could see just enough, like just ahead of the vehicle, and something said, "Can you see ahead of you?" I said, "Yep." And it said, "Well, go forward." So I continued to drive forward, even though the other cars were stopping along the way. And eventually we got to a clear patch of, just blue skies, sunshine, and I could look in the rearview mirror, and it was still raining back there, and all the cars that decided to pull over were still back there. And we had an amazing drive home. So that has always reminded me to just keep going. Even though your visibility may be low in the moment, you know where your destination is, so keep going. Don't get distracted by the other drivers. And that's probably the best way I can sum up this whole transition from those 14 years of experience to where we are now.
Wow, Natasha, that was amazing. And I can just visualize what you were saying, pushing forward, regardless of the people who pull over and quit and stop along the way, but keep going, keep your eye on the goal, basically. That's awesome. James, how would you characterize your transition?
My transition was so natural to me. It was natural to me because all my life I've been fighting, trying to fit in. Going to school, I fought trying to fit in. I never did. I feel like I'll fit in no matter what I did, no matter how hard I tried, except for when I was doing what I enjoyed doing, which was art class. When I was in art class, that was like I was on a desert island away from everybody. I was at peace. But when I came off of that island, I felt like I was drowning. And the same thing from going from corporate to where I am now. I did corporate for about 14 years, and it just wasn't me. It was not me at all. And the funny thing about it is my dad was an entrepreneur. His grandfather was an entrepreneur, so it was in my blood. But when you're taught, go to school, get a good job, get a good education as a man, and if you don't do that, you're not really providing. So I was really running from it. But when I allowed myself to really, really get into it, it felt so natural. It felt so right. Every day is not easy, but it felt like home for me. And doing it with my wife, for the last 3,124 days today. It's just been absolutely incredible because we're doing it together, and we know without a shadow of a doubt we're walking in our purpose.
Oh, what an amazing thing you just said, to know without a doubt in your mind, even on those days where it's looking not great, that you're facing some huge mountains, you know that you're walking in your purpose, and that makes all the difference in the world. And another thing that you said that I love is you said it felt like home. You knew you were doing what you were supposed to be doing. That's so amazing. Now, I want to talk about your first book, A Journey to Purpose. What was it like for you guys to write this book together, from both of your perspectives? Tell us about that. James, you want to start with that?
For me, it was like, wow, I did it. Like, coming up through school, I was not a school person. I was not in a classroom, sitting at a desk, paying attention because I was bored. I felt like I wasn't there. So when it came down to writing papers and having the confidence to write something that somebody else wanted to read was so far from my mind. But the mere fact that we did it, and it's my voice and it's my wife's voice, and that book resonated with so many people from not just in the U.S. but from in other countries as well. It's still a dream. That first book, we've done 10 books, but that first book was really a dream come true for me, because it lets me know that if I can do it, absolutely anybody can do it. And it gave me the confidence in my voice. That book gave me the confidence in my voice and knowing that my voice want to be heard. And doing it with my wife and us doing it together, it was simply our story, how God brought two people who are completely different, and he prepared us differently to bring us together for a incredible purpose together. So I have all the credit, not all the credit, but a lot of the credit I give to Natasha, because she showed me, and she absolutely tells me every single day that you have a powerful voice, that you have something in you that somebody needs, and writing this book really brought it out of me.
That's awesome. Natasha, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we both did that for each other to kind of validate you have something worth sharing. We have something worth sharing. And for me, unlike James, I was the model student. I loved going to school. It was a challenge for me to get, and it wasn't about the grade. It was just performing with excellence. And I enjoyed learning. And the process with writing the book for James came behind me accumulating many degrees and going through specialist and doctoral programs where I would submit papers to educational journals, and you would have to be accepted. Others, board members, would have to validate your worth, to say your work is worthy enough to put in our publication. And where there are some grounds for that, I got into writing the book with James was in my unlearning process, where you learn, unlearn, and relearn, because here I was unlearning a lot of my formal education, all the traditional training that I had. We were in that phase where we were unlearning a lot of that. And when we got to the point where we realized that we are the experts of our own story, and when we walked in that and moved in that, we caught the attention of people, like James said, from other countries. And honestly, we had not finished writing the book when people began to reach out to us, and very credible people were reaching out to us about the book. And for us, in that moment of unlearning, it just kind of confirmed who we were and the purpose that we had, but also the message that we were to begin to issue to people.
I know that one of you, I'm not sure which one, did state that in the process of writing A Journey to Purpose, you were able to identify or have your own purpose revealed in the writing of that book. So is that what you meant when you just said that it opened up some purpose? Or what did you mean when you said that it showed you what your real purpose was?
It showed us when we came together as a couple, we knew that God put us together for a reason. We knew that it was something because we started differently. How we got together was different, and we just knew there was something special about putting us together. And when we wrote that book, it made our purpose as plain as day, together as a couple. We really gave up individual purpose. We gave up individual missions. We gave up individual goals because God showed us who we are together and what we were meant to do on this earth together as a couple. And writing that book just made it plain as day. And to this day, we're still walking in that purpose because of what was revealed during that writing process.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Okay, if you're just joining us, you're listening to Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. And today, our guest is author and entrepreneurs James and Natasha King. Okay, a lot of us guys know you guys through your magazine, Love, Marriage, and Partnership, The Review. I can remember when it first started, and it has gone through some transitions, but it was beautiful from the beginning, and it is absolutely inspirational and beautiful today. What is the goal of the magazine, and why did you feel it was important to do it?
The goal of the magazine on the front end is just to highlight couples that are operating in partnership in some capacity, whether it be community work, business, ministry, whatever it is, to show the partnership in marriage. Because oftentimes you hear people, there are platforms that highlight love, they'll highlight marriage, but there's a third component that is so critical, which is the partnership. And so to speak with couples and kind of get their insight on what partnership really is to them, because it is different for a lot of people, but in them sharing, hopefully readers are able to identify the principle or the commonality between it, like Napoleon Hill talks about the mastermind alliance. Where two minds come together and you can't help but to activate that third mind or that third power. And when you have that three-strand cord going, then you impact people in a much greater capacity. So highlighting couples in that regard is one thing, but the other component, kind of the byproduct that comes along with the magazine, is that we literally look for the good in people. And we highlight it in the most professional way we possibly can. So if people are doing great things, whether it's in business, community work, ministry, authors, whatever it value. And the other part is we've done this for free. This is a principle that we have adopted to look for the good in people and not always look for compensation directly, because we're going to get compensated, but just not necessarily from that particular capacity. So the purpose behind the magazine is to, one, highlight couples that are in partnership so that people can see that it's possible. Because there are statistics out there that'll tell you that they'll tell you all the reasons why it can't or that it's not there. And we just want to give evidence that it is. Because if you give that evidence, then it continues to build hope and faith for others. And then also, at the same token, to highlight just people all over that are doing good things.
Another thing that we do for the magazine is, I know for the last 2 years, not consecutive years, but the last 2 years that we've been in production, we have a theme every month. Mm-hmm. Every issue has its own theme. Like last month was Love Her. Last month was International Women's Month. So we wanted to have an issue that's really, really highlighting a lot of different incredible women just around the world that's doing some incredible things that we know. And so those different things allow us to kind of stretch ourselves and really, really highlight people in specific ways, but also give motivational tips, give quotes, give paradigm shifts on what those themes are, something that is really, really showing people our heart, our mindset. Just when it comes down to business, when it comes down to love, when it comes down to just mindset in general, is our goal that each page really represents that in a special way.
And I think you have done that masterfully. One of my favorite issues was the one you just mentioned, the March issue, where you highlighted some amazing women. And some of those women I may not have been familiar with, but you highlighted in a beautiful way some really amazing women. And I know me and so many other people were just inspired by them and by that magazine. So kudos to you both for doing that and doing that magazine. Okay, you guys are pretty busy. Go ahead, Tasha. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying we're humble. We're grateful. It blesses us as much as it blesses those that we feature. It really does. So we're grateful. Thank you.
Absolutely. You guys are pretty busy. You guys are authors, publishers, trainers. You do speaking engagements. You do conferences. How do you just stay grounded, both as a couple and individually, with so much going on and going in so hard like you do and so committed to what you all are doing? So how do you keep yourself as a couple grounded and individually?
Behind the scenes, a lot of self-development. We always tell ourselves we work hard. We work very hard on James and Natasha. So that behind the scenes, there's a lot of self-development. There's a lot of candid conversations. There's a lot, not candid, but we have personal conversations with each other, just talking about things, because we don't agree on everything. But our mindset has been from the beginning is we don't look for who's right, but we look for what's right. And we do that by we set a goal. As a couple, we set tremendous goals, and we use those goals to keep us kind of focused every single day. But self-development really launched by Natasha. Natasha loves self-development, whether it's sermons, it could be people like Bob Proctor, Napoleon Hill, Miles Monroe, just different people she listens to. And a lot of times she'll send it to me. Sometimes we'll listen to it together. But when we go to sleep at night, self-development is playing even while we're sleeping. So we're big fans of just paradigm shifts, just thinking differently and listening to people who have results that we desire to have. So self-development is one thing that we do, but another thing we do is just set goals. And we set goals where we have to grow. We set goals where we have to involve other people. We set goals where we have to sit down and stay grounded and stay focused, because until that goal is met, we don't let up. We do not let up. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It doesn't matter what doesn't go right. Only thing that matters is once we set that goal, once we speak it out of our mouths, we know that it's already done. We know that everything we need financially, all the people we need, all the resources we need to make that goal manifest is already headed to us, or we already have in us. So we come from a place of confidence that that goal will be done. And ever since we started doing it, every goal we set out to reach has been met. It's been absolutely met. Does it work out in the time frame all the time? No. Time frame doesn't matter, but who you become in the process, that's really the manifestation, who you become in the process. Because once you start becoming who you need to be, then you're able to go out and do more to reach that goal. So self-development is one thing that we do to stay grounded, and setting goals. And setting goals that stretch us.
I think also with that, those are like the paramount things. But one of the things that we have learned to do is honor time. To honor time, almost to the point where it's something that we told our son, and it was a lesson for us. One day he was jumping in the bed, and we were preparing to leave to go somewhere, and I said, come on, don't waste time. And we say that because we've always heard it. Don't waste time. Don't waste my time. And immediately when I said it, I was stopped, and it was like God spoke to me and said, you cannot waste time, because time is just time. It's going to come and go, but you can dishonor it with your activity, with your thoughts, and all of those things. So setting goals, personal development, but you ask, how do we kind of manage all of those things? And it's honoring time. Not in the sense that we have to do this, but we to do it. Time is given to us as a gift. Time is our friend. And so often people look at their goals that they have, even with the personal development. They look at the people that they're under mentorship or coaching from, and they want to achieve those things. But how often do people look at their goals and they have a negative emotion attached to it? There's a frustration there because they feel like they have not arrived yet, or they don't have the time. They have to speed up. So instead, let's just back up a little bit. And to answer your question, Melissa, those things that we do in terms of personal development, setting goals, is also honoring time that's a gift that it is, so that you carry the right emotion while you're on your journey and you're doing the things that you desire to do.
That's really absolutely amazing, guys, because one of the things that as entrepreneurs, we go so hard and we get so into running our businesses that the self-development part is the part that goes lacking in so many cases. I've been in business over 20 years, and I just recently started focusing on some self-development and taking care of myself so that I can be productive in my other goals and dreams for my business. Another thing that James says that stuck out to me is we know it's going to happen. We know that once we speak that goal together as a couple, it is going to happen. So maybe it doesn't happen in our time frame. So, you've heard the saying, move the date, not the goal. You still stay focused on the goal, even if it doesn't happen when you thought that time frame was there. And to honor time, I don't think I've ever had anybody to answer that question with that comment, Natasha, to honor time. Because we've been taught, don't waste my time. I know I would say that a lot until today. So honor time. That is huge. I love that. Okay, so what challenges would you guys say you face in building your businesses, if you have more than one? What challenges do you face in businesses, building your business, and how have you been able to overcome those challenges?
I would say, well, we can look at this in two ways. We can say for, I guess you'd say a personal challenge or as a couple, and I guess we can tackle it both ways. But I think with anyone, learning to believe.
That's good.
Learning to believe is probably the biggest challenge because we aren't taught it. And
we're taught to, but we're
not taught how. Because you've heard so often growing up, you got to believe that you can do it. You can do it. But how do we really develop belief? How do we eliminate doubt? How do we do that when we've grown up in environments about it's a lack mindset or feeling that you're limited in some way? But how do you really grow belief? And this is, I shared earlier that we were in an unlearning process because growing up for me, I was always told that I could. It was just an expectation that I performed. And I honestly didn't need accolades. I was always intrinsically motivated because there was an expectation from me, and I was always told that I was great, honestly. And as parents, and that's the kind of environment we want to provide for our parents. But at the same time, I mean, they were realistic. It wasn't like blowing my head up, but that validation was always there, right? Kind of like when you look at royalties, they grow up understanding and knowing that they are royalty. However, in an unlearning process, you kind of have to begin to break away from those things and start to look. Now you've identified what your purpose is. So you've gone through a space where you are discovering your purpose, you develop your purpose, and then you devote yourself to it. And in that process, you have to build belief. You have to build belief that you were created to meet a need or solve a problem. And every single day, you will be bombarded with images and thoughts and words and conversations and feelings and emotions that will try to tell you that your truth is wrong. Formulate ourselves to say, I am tired, I am this, I don't have this, I am this, or you, and that's a subjective thing. You know, you're looking at circumstances, or you can say, I'm behind relative to what you see other people doing. And it comes down to, and I'll let James share this, it was something that challenged me probably about 2 years ago. I was looking at our particular circumstance and where we were, and it's all relative to your perspective. And I said, I just have to be honest, and I don't even know what the conversation was about, but I know I said, I just have to be honest. And he said, I understand that, but I'd rather you speak your truth. I'd rather you speak your truth. That's the kind of accountability that was needed for me to tap back into the belief. Tap back into who I am. I know who we are. I know what we have. I know who we are serving is belief. If people can tackle the challenge of building belief and acting on it, belief to the point of acting, that's the challenge. Not just for us, but for anybody.
And
wow, that was so good, Natasha. James, do you want to give us some final words? This has been just such an amazing conversation for both of you, for our audience to hear. You want to just kind of give us some final words for the audience?
Oh, yeah, yes, indeed. I can definitely agree with Natasha that belief was and sometimes is the biggest struggle. But our final words is how we overcame it. We overcame it by learning how to believe. And we learned, and this is how you believe. Believe, this is how you grow your belief. With your words, with images, and emotions. Be careful what you speak. We are very careful about what we say, how we say it, what we speak. Because words create. What we say can create good. What we say can create what we don't want. And I'd rather speak things that we do want. Images. We put up images of what we desire to have. We put up images where we desire to go. Whether it's income goals, business goals, relationship goals, we put up images all around, computer, phone, bathroom, wall in a bedroom, so that everywhere our eyes look, we see our destiny. We see our reality because of the words that we're speaking. We're creating a new reality, and we definitely being able to stay motivated by the images that we see. And then our emotions really, really manifest things into our lives because our emotions, a lot of times, we are emotional creatures. So we move off emotions. But if we're consistently using our words correctly, consistently looking at the right images, then our emotions will be in alignment with the goal that we set. So knowing how to believe
that was so good.
Has blessed us tremendously. And at the end of that, we're just simply grateful because we believe gratitude is the seed for more.
Ooh, absolutely. That was so good. I believe if you can see it, then you can achieve it. If you're still trying to see it, then you cannot believe and achieve it. So that's absolutely awesome. Please let our audience know how to stay connected with you guys.
Well, you can follow us on Facebook, social media. You can find James King or Natasha King. Pretty much across the board, especially on Instagram, is officially the Kings or Mrs. Natasha King on Instagram. So those are the two platforms that we're on.
Okay, I wanted to say thank you guys again for such an amazing conversation. This conversation has been so inspirational, and I'm just excited and grateful to have you guys here today.
Thank you so much, Melissa. You've been a blessing to our lives for a few years now, and we're just grateful that God placed you in our lives. So thank you so much for all you do, not just for us, but for the masses. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I appreciate that.
It's an amazing platform.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you again to our guests today, and thank you to our audience for tuning in to today's edition of Dream by Design. I'm your host, Melissa Banks, saying all your dreams are possible. Believe in yourself, work hard, and don't quit. Until next time, thank you for choosing Dream by Design with Melissa Banks. Enjoy your day.